Hey guys, my name is Isaac Weisberg. For those of you that don't know, I'm the CEO of Sasquatch Strength, and we're joined here with the three founders of Sasquatch. Jason Cobb, our COO.
Hi.
And Troy Morse, our Director of Program and Coach Development.
Oh.
And really we want to introduce you guys to the brand, to the story behind the brand, and then we'll get a little bit more into the minutia of, what makes us unique, what makes us stand out in the marketplace, and really give you guys an opportunity to get to know us as people, as operators, but also as a concept. So let's start off with the story of Sasquatch. Sasquatch really was kind of the brainchild of the three of us, but the evolution of how we got started was kind of interesting. I opened up my first gym in 2014. It was a little tiny 1,000 square foot gym in Sammamish, Washington. And one of my first clients was Mr. Cobb right here.
Yeah.
And at the time you were still working in finance, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So Jason developed high-speed training infrastructure for a company based out of New York. I'm sure he wants to tell you a lot about that stuff right now. But we developed a friendship, and you and I trained for 2 years before we ever started working together, right?
Yeah.
2018 or 2016. So as Jason and I developed this friendship, I started trying to figure out how to run gyms better, right? That gym in 2014 I bought from a gentleman that kind of didn't do very well at operating a gym. I took over that gym and I started trying to figure out what made it tick, what we could improve upon. At the time, Jason, as a friend, obviously advised me and started trying to help me through the process. And as we started, solidifying some of the procedures and working through the programming and getting the SOPs down, after about a year or so, we had it down a little bit better. We took one more year to operate, and that's when I decided that we should go out and open up a second gym. So that was in 2016. There was a gym here in Redmond that I identified that I really wanted to purchase. The gentleman was a super nice guy, ran a really good gym. I liked the way his community ran. I loved his people. So I approached him, and it turned out that at that time he wanted to become a firefighter. So we agreed that I would take over his gym, merge the two gyms together, kind of as a one community, still two separate gyms, but one community, and kind of rebrand the whole thing. And around that same time, Jason, you and I started talking, and can you tell us a little bit about what was going on with your life and how you wanted to sort of become a part of this story?
I was looking to make a change personally, and Isaac and I had become good friends, and I knew that when he started this other gym, he was going to need a lot of help. So I did at first volunteer, say, hey, let's look to see what we can do, see what I can help. I came in with a lot of operational experience. So being able to kind of make some efficiencies in day-to-day operations, as well as just kind of the business side of it.
Absolutely. And Jason played an integral part of everything that has to do with the way ops are handled today. The business wouldn't be where it is without Jason, obviously. And around that same time, while you and I started developing those processes, we kind of got introduced to Troy as well. So Troy was actually a staple around Washington. He had one of the oldest running micro gyms on the east side, which is the area east of Seattle. And that gym was actually a gym that I very much admired and followed for a really long time. When we took over the gym in Redmond, we approached Troy with a very different mentality than probably a lot of other people approached you before. Our view on it was much like Troy's. We wanted to grow the community. We wanted to have events together. We wanted to throw competitions together. We wanted to really bring the two communities together because we figured we could grow the pie, right? Instead of fighting over the 5 people that are joining micro gyms at the time, why not build a broader, larger audience that's excited about fitness?
Yep.
And you and I kind of clicked on that right away. So Troy had this expertise that Jason and I immediately realized we were missing, which is, operationally, Jason was fantastic. And in terms of growing and developing the business, I did a really good job. But we were missing that coaching piece, the community piece, the programming piece, somebody that really had in-depth expertise as to how to structure these programs, how to train these coaches, how to really lead the community as a whole, which is very different than the business development. And that is really where Troy shined. I mean, his coaches went through an extensive program that he at the time called the ITP, the Instructor Training Program. Now it's called the STP, the Sasquatch Training Program. That's when, Troy really started bringing all of that to the table and really opening our eyes to what we were missing.
Yeah, I remember walking into his gym the first time, and you could instantly tell, wow, this guy knows how to coach. He knows how to run class. And that was really the key pieces that we were missing.
It was a well-oiled machine. I mean, from an operational capacity standpoint, everything was really efficient. All of his facilities were top-notch because he comes from a construction background, and obviously all these little bits came together, and we realized that Troy was the missing piece of the Sasquatch puzzle. But I don't know, what was your opinion like as we started doing these things together? What was coming to mind?
The community, having two gyms that were such close proximity to each other, but yet having the same goals as far as the community and what we wanted, it's kind of what drew me in, where, so we were only 400 meters away from this location here. And so we'd done a bunch of events, and for 2 years we did a bunch of events together and things, and we kind of just threw it around on the table. Wouldn't it be cool to have one bigger gym, bigger community, more influence, and touching more people instead of, trying to draw people away from each other. And so that kind of was one of the big things that drew me to it. And, I didn't really know Jason until
one of the events.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I met him and everything, but until we actually started kind of working together, once we kind of decided to kind of merge these things and start working together, 4 or 5 months in, and then Isaac, I just knew Isaac for a couple of years from just being gym owners together for a while, but
Yeah, it was a really cool way how this all came together, and then that was around late 2017, early 2018, somewhere around there. Actually, late 2017.
Yeah, I think June of 2017, I think.
Yeah. And then at around that time, we started to realize, once we had this team put together, that we had much larger, goals and dreams than we thought we did, right? We realized we had something special. We realized that had a team that could scale, that could really create something that was meaningful and would last and would be successful. And that's when we started throwing around the idea of franchising. We saw it as a really interesting vehicle to be able to take our vision and allow other people to use all the resources that we had developed for a micro gym owner in a very meaningful way. And in a way that would work, right? Not in a consulting capacity where we tell people what to do and they just don't do it, or don't have the technology, or don't have the bandwidth, or follow 80% of what we do and then miss the other 20% that really makes a difference.
Or have to do it all on their own, themselves, and
100%
learn all the pitfalls that you can navigate, all that stuff.
100%. And we all ran through those pitfalls, right? Like you saw me crash and burn a million times in the first couple of years, right? It was very painful. The first year I coached every single class, 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and I slept in a hammock that I hung from the rafters in the rig just so I could get through it, right? And that's kind of what we want to avoid, right? Put people in a position where they can start off day one with members, with procedures and policies that work, with pricing that makes sense, with competitive everything, right? And that's really what we started wanting to build. So as we sort of started getting into that frame of mind, we obviously rebranded Sasquatch Strength. we started creating much better, much more comprehensive marketing procedures, better operational protocols, tightening the belts of our coaches, making sure that everything was taught the same way, truly standardizing everything that we did.
I think coming together, the three of us, and working together really allowed each of us to really go after and focus on our specialties and our strengths and develop those areas of the business. So I think that was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And our franchisees now can just leverage us as individuals as part of Team Sasquatch. It lets them focus on what they really need to focus on, right? Which is their membership. Making sure that they give 100% of their time and effort towards keeping their members happy, engaged, keeping their staff well trained, and they can use us as a resource for everything else, right? The operational stuff is done by Jason. All the technology is managed by Jason and is kept up to date and state of the art by Jason. All the programming is done by you, right? Their coaches are going to be trained mostly by you, right? Remotely. You're going to create the Sasquatch training program that they're going to be able to follow. They're going to be able to follow more of the modules that you're going to upload onto either of our platforms for them to be able to, take advantage of. And they're going to be able to, use all of my growth strategies, all of the corporate and team contract sales strategies that I put out for them. And again, they can just focus on what they have a passion for, which is people.
Yep.
Absolutely. At this point is three really cool things happen. One, we brought on Amy Patrick as our director of marketing and branding, that started working on all this immaculately branding stuff and truly solidified the Sasquatch Strength brand. While we brought on Vicky Savage as well, our director of, right now, customer support, and thereafter became our director of franchisee success, whose job was really people, right? Her job was to make sure that all of our members, all of our coaches were well taken care of. She has an ear that is able to listen to somebody as long as they need to talk. She just has that ability to connect with people, right? And that really makes her excel at her job. She took a customer-centric approach to everything that she did, and that kind of transitioned into a franchisee-centric approach from, now the franchise. And once we added those two people to the team, then we were really able to run and operate a location as a franchise. So that's when we decided we would open up our Issaquah location. So our Issaquah location was going to be, this was 2018, our third location. It was going to be run pretty much like a franchise, right? We as owners weren't going to be involved in it nearly as much as we were involved in Redmond and Sammamish. We were going to train a manager that was going to go in there and run the show, right? And at the same time that was happening, we got introduced to the franchise founders. And that's when things really started to happen, really started to change. The franchise founders was this private equity group out of South Florida. Their job was to identify and incubate these, rising star franchise concepts that were really in that incubation period. And out of, I don't know how many franchises and fitness franchises specifically that they evaluated, they saw something in us, right? They saw what we see in each other every day, right? Our ability to really focus in on what we're experts at and let the other one handle what they're experts at. Our ability to really create something meaningful and something that's going to last, something that's not trendy but timeless. And they really took us on and then gave us these incredible resources that started allowing us to really develop our technology, develop our procedures, develop our model. They gave us a CFO that was able to come in and underwrite the entire model from a franchisee's perspective. Because it was a little different, right? Thinking about it from the franchisee's perspective and how those economies would work, how we would use economies as scale for our advantage with our supplements, our fridge items, even our gear, right? Our apparel, all that stuff. They stepped in and really gave us some guidance in that regard. They gave us project managers that were able to keep us on task with regards to creating all of our franchise documents, all of our franchise tools. We started being able to develop different platforms for the franchisees. our Crm Platform, which we're going to talk about later, that creates that franchise path to opening, and that is their management tool while they're going through operating their franchise. Friendmetrics, that creates all of those KPIs and keeps our franchisees accountable to those KPIs. They also, gave us an operations guy that worked closely with Jason on making sure that we scaled all of our operating procedures to a franchise level, right? Enterprise systems are very different than individual gym systems, right? And being able to, out of the gate, have the expertise that somebody like Joshua Reed, our new VP of Operations, has, right? Joshua worked with Massage Envy, he worked with Tough Mudder Boot Camp, he worked with these big brands when they were just incubator concepts, and he has this boots on the ground expertise that in a million years we wouldn't be able to afford if we didn't have a private equity group like Franchise Founders behind us. That's when things just really started being able to evolve, right? We went from our 3 corporate locations to our first franchise being sold in Orlando, our second franchise being sold and very soon to be opened here in Washington. Now a third franchise that we're going to be opening here as well. And people in the pipeline that are very late stages, getting ready to sign agreements in Maryland, in Colorado, more in South Florida, Mexico, and then in the greater Toronto area. So we're really very quickly becoming a national brand in the matter of 2 years that we've been a franchise concept. We're getting some amazing momentum, and really it's getting to be very exciting. So, I'm pretty excited at what the rest of 2020 is going to bring for Sasquatch. We're looking at opening another 5 to 10 franchises this year, and there's a potential for 20 plus franchises to be open in 2021. I'm just really excited for the future of Sasquatch. We're doing things really different, and we're doing things that are really going to create some very impactful change in the world. So I'm really excited to have you guys to do this with, because I'd be really nervous about doing the pieces that you do
on your own.
Yeah, it would be next to impossible. It's really cool to see the team that we've been able to build so quickly. And with so many all-stars that are really going to put us just above and beyond our competition and let us just go in and take the fitness world by storm.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, cool, guys. We're really looking forward to having a conversation with you guys one-on-one here soon. And over the course of this webinar, this video series, you guys are going to see a little bit more one-on-one between me and Jason about all of our technology and our operations, a little bit with Troy about our programming and our coaching, a little bit with Amy about our marketing and branding, and with Vicky about our customer and franchisee success. See you guys soon.
Thanks.
All right, we're joined with our Chief Operating Officer, Jason Cobb. Hey, Jason.
Hey, how's it going, Isaac?
Good. Jason is largely responsible for all the operating procedures you're going to be utilizing at Sasquatch Strength. He's also in large part responsible for all the technology you're going to be using at Sasquatch Strength. Jason, you've spent the last probably 4 years working with me on really developing the technology, solving all the problems that we found inside of the gym space, the micro gym space in particular. Let's start with our point of sale system. What are some of the shortcomings that you found in the existing and readily available point of sale systems that we kind of adapted or tweaked?
Well, our current point of sale system is a great tool that allows you to kind of set up membership tiers and have your members added to the enrollment here in the gym. It makes it an easy process. You don't have to worry about monthly billing. Everything's done automatic for you. In fact, the overall theme of what our technology provides is building the tools that allow you to do a day-to-day task at the gym in a very automated, systematic way, so that you can free up time to spend time with the clients, coach classes if you're the coach, really kind of provide that high-class service that our members are looking for.
Absolutely, and that really is kind of the theme of all of our technology is automation, right?
Yep.
We want to make sure we free up our franchisees to do what they do best, which is to deal with our clients, right? To have that one-on-one personal relationship with them and really foster that friendship, as opposed to have to spend all this time doing tedious tasks. That's where that automation comes in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're always trying to refine the process, add more automation when it's necessary, just to free up that time.
Absolutely. There is one process that we can't automate and don't want to automate, which is our sales process. So let's talk a little bit about the client lifecycle and how somebody comes into Sasquatch Strength. So to start with, people usually find us online. They find us through Facebook or Instagram ads that we run. They find us primarily through whatever search engine they find. They land on our website, right? Once they get to our website, can you walk me through what that cycle looks like?
Sure. So what we're trying to define is kind of a high-class customer service experience that they receive. So once they come in through our website, or however they book a trial class through ads or through the website, they're going to get a personalized call from the coach. They're going to get welcomed into the gym. When they do arrive at the door, there's going to be somebody there to greet them. And there's going to be somebody there to go through the entire trial class process with them, to answer any questions, to provide them whatever support that they need, and to just really make sure that they have a genuine, enjoyable experience here as their first class.
So one of the other pieces of software that we use to make sure that franchisees are held accountable to kind of the KPIs that we established for them is Francmetrics. So Francmetrics is this phenomenal piece of software that connects to both the franchisees' bank accounts as well as our member management software. Then takes all of that data, compares it to the KPIs, the key performance indicators that we've established for the franchisees, and then is able to essentially give them a score on each one of those KPIs, right? And then we receive those scores on a monthly basis. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then we go through as a team and we assess where the franchisee needs some help and perhaps where they're excelling. And then we use that data to help them through their struggles, as well as denote where they're excelling and potentially get some information that's going to help us with our other franchisees, right?
Yeah, and by being data-driven, it provides us the ability to kind of see things before they start to get worse. So we're able to make corrections, get things back online, and really help out the franchisees on a monthly basis.
Absolutely. And again, it's because we look for trends, right? We don't look for like end of the line data. We look for how the data is fluctuating from week to week, month to month. And that lets us, like you said, catch problems early, make sure we keep our franchisees being successful, and make sure that they can figure out exactly what's wrong. Francmetrics also has this phenomenal feature where it allows us to plant data against each other. So sometimes it lets us draw out correlations that aren't obvious. So for example, we can plot out a particular coach's scores, coach are given scores by their classes. And we can plot that out against our revenue generation for any given week in retail. And perhaps we can figure out a coach that needs more training with regards to their retail sales, right? Maybe they're not talking about our offers often enough, or they're not explaining the product well enough, and that's causing a decrease in sales. So that's the kind of stuff that we get to do with Francmetrics.
Exactly.
Another piece of software that we use is FranConnect. FranConnect is our all-inclusive hub for our franchisees. There, the franchisees are able to submit help tickets. They have all of their relevant documents readily available. So they have their FDD, they have their franchise agreement, they have their operating manuals, they have their coaches manuals, front desk manuals, head coach manuals, manager manuals. And then they're able to also interact with other franchisees on a sort of social media platform where they can discuss ideas, ask questions, and get help from the overall community. Francmetrics also serves a very large purpose in terms of our training, which is providing a platform for all of our learning software. So can you tell us a little bit about how that learning platform works, Jay?
Yeah, so the learning platform is set up where we have videos or instructional PDFs that kind of guide the franchise owner as well as coaches through the learning module, as well as kind of a little quiz to kind of assess what their learning capacity was on that particular topic. So it's a great tool to kind of look at continual training for coaches and staff, as well as for the franchise owner.
Oh, that's fantastic. And we use that tool for retraining as well. So the beauty of it is once somebody goes through their training, if you find a coach that maybe isn't doing a particular role the way they need to, you can always reassign that training and have them go through it again so that they get a refresher, right? And again, they have to get a certain score on their quizzes before they can move on to the next module. It's really comprehensive. Really effective at shortening that training window. And again, like we said, automation, right? If you can send out this training to 5 coaches at the same time, then when you go do the actual on-site training with the coaches, you can spend a lot less time. And also you probably only have to do it once because they already have all of the base level knowledge that they need. The last piece of technology that we want to talk about with you guys is our CRM platform. We do have a proprietary CRM system that encompasses our member management software, as well as how it integrates with our website and then our CRM platform. Jason can tell us a little bit about how those pieces interact and why it's so powerful.
The great thing about our CRM product is the integration that we have with our marketing. So as prospects come through, either through Facebook ads, direct email marketing, or any other future marketing that we choose to use, we can automatically import those contacts into our CRM, start them off on a campaign to start the sales process, get them excited about Sasquatch strength, with the hopes of eventually getting them into a franchise location for a trial class. And then once we do that, our traditional sales process takes over, where we guide them through that sales process. But it's really that integration with any type of platform that is the most powerful aspect of our CRM.
Absolutely. And once that member becomes a member, we also have these internal sales campaigns that go into effect, right?
Yes, correct. And those internal sales campaigns really kind of based on what the members' goals are. So we really make it personalized for each individual. So depending on what their goals are, we'll give them different marketing campaigns or email campaigns to really kind of give them the tools necessary to achieve those goals in the quickest manner possible.
Absolutely. And we use those campaigns both for the member support, right, to keep them engaged over time. We have around 18 months worth of emails that get sent to those members over the course of their stay here at Sasquatch Strength that both serve to support them as well as to upsell given services. So we utilize that as a platform to be able to sell some personal training and offer it at the right time. We do the same thing for nutrition, supplements, fringe items. We also use that same technology for the sales process. In the event that somebody doesn't convert into a membership or never shows up for a trial class, never, continues to engage with us, but we do have their email, we also have around an 18-month drip email campaign, again, based off of their interests. If they were interested in nutrition, it's a nutrition drip campaign. If they were interested in personal training or fitness, it's those particular types of campaigns that basically touch on them over time with the hopes that we connect with them at the right time and then are able to get them in here for a trial class.
Exactly. So it's really about creating a customized marketing platform for the prospect and something that's easy for the franchisee to run. It's completely automated, sits in the background, sending out these emails. You're alerted at different points during the process to either make a personal phone call or a personal email or a personal text message out to that prospect to really kind of keep them engaged in the Sasquatch brand with the hopes that they'll become a member.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Jace.
Yeah, thank you, Isaac.
All right, guys, so we're back with Troy Morse, our Director of Program and Coach Development. Hey, Troy.
How's it going?
Going well, thank you. So Troy here is largely responsible for what Sasquatch is today from a programming and coaching standpoint. Troy is the one that develops all of our training programs. Troy is the one that develops all of our programming. So every time you see a thruster or a squat, it's put in there by Troy and his team. He's also, for the most part, responsible for all of the awesome equipment that you see here today. And Troy has a pretty cool story to tell, so can you tell us a little bit about kind of your experience in owning and operating gyms, that sort of thing?
So I've owned gyms for going on 10 years, involved in strength sports, from some field sports to strongman to weightlifting to powerlifting, and a little functional fitness-ish. So kind of that's got a little hand in the pot of everything there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've won quite a few medals for powerlifting and Olympic weightlifting.
Oh yeah, so a few powerlifting medals and a few weightlifting medals, and competed at the
some state
Masters
records.
World Cup. Yeah, some fun stuff there myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And Troy's daughter, actually, who is coached by Troy, won the gold medal at Youth Nationals for Snatch.
Yeah,
is
for
that
Snatch, right? A couple years ago, 2017, 18.
Yeah, absolutely. So Troy's a phenomenal athlete himself, and also trains very high-level athletes. So would you say that plays a role in how you program for our gyms?
Oh yeah, I think fitness has to be structured a little bit, and so using athletes and how an athlete would train is definitely how we kind of program, with different phases and different kind of microcycles of work, which is going to benefit people in the long run over a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see very little, if no injuries in the gym, right?
Yeah, very little. Do that because we're not repeating the same thing over and over and over again.
Right. It's varied, but purposely varied,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Not randomly varied.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. I see athletes coming in all the time that just do this and either compete with or do better than a lot of people that are hyper-focusing on a particular lift or hyper-focusing on a particular modality. And that's a pretty powerful thing, a pretty cool thing. So a lot of people want to know kind of what makes Sasquatch, our programming, our coaching, so different than any other mixed modality gyms. What would you say to that?
I'm going to say that we want to educate our clients and get them the best that they can have through having the knowledge of why they're doing it, and so then they have buy-in to what they're doing, and they can see the long-term picture to become better and what it's going to take to become better. So educating them on why we're doing certain things at certain times, or different phases of work, so they can buy in.
Absolutely, and that kind of goes back to our first core value, right? Education first. You said this a number of years ago, and I keep repeating it in everything that we do. We want to teach them so much that they can leave, but we want to treat them so well that they want to stay, right?
Yep, that's the coolest.
Yeah, and that stuck with me because that's what attracted me to work with you in the first place, right? Is the fact that you were so passionate about education, so passionate about passing that education along to our members, instilling that in the coaches to make sure that they had that same passion that you did, right? And if they don't have that passion, then that might not be the right coach for us,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
So a question we get from a lot of people is, can anybody just show up and train at Sasquatch Strength?
Yeah, totally. The coaches are fully prepared with their coaches' notes to take and modify the work and keep the intended stimulus for any level of person that's comes in the door that day for class. So it's definitely doable for anybody of any fitness level.
Yeah, and I mean, our from young to old, our youngest client is 11 years old. Our oldest client right now happens to be 76, and he comes every morning at 6 a.m. Does push-ups with the best of them. Still deadlifts, still squats, still presses, still does just about everything. And we do have to, adjust things and scale things for him from time to time. But he's come a really long way in the couple of years that he's been with us.
Yeah. And even, the coaches, we leave it open for the coaches so they can communicate with, or the athletes can communicate with the coaches, so that then we can even take and go one step down further the rabbit hole of any modifications or things we might have to adjust for the client for injuries or even their specific goals.
Absolutely. I mean, Aiden came to us with a double hip replacement and a shoulder replacement. So at the beginning, of course, like pressing overhead was not something that he could do. We had to use a PVC pipe. Squatting below parallel didn't exist for him because of his hip replacement. Now it does. And we just, little by little worked his way up by, like you said, working with the coaches and scaling, right?
And then in terms of, fitness level as well, I mean, we have clients that start with us at, well over 300 pounds that, want to come in here and, take some pressure off their knees, or, maybe they have an actual weight loss goal. And like you said, our job, our mission really is to work with those people, especially the people that nobody else wants to work with, and make sure that they can start chipping away at this fitness thing, right?
Yep, that's totally it. We want to work with everybody and anybody that's willing to do some work.
Yeah, that's a key part too that I love, is they still got to be willing to do the work. We're not, to me, that sets us apart a little bit. We're not offering a magic pill. We don't sell ourselves as a magic pill. You have to put in the work, right? We have those signs that sit all outside the facility that say nothing will work until you do. And I think that's so true. Like we want to offer people the opportunity to have a good platform to put in the good work and some good resources, some motivation, some accountability. But if they don't put in the work, there's nothing anybody can do, right?
Yep.
So one other thing that you guys might not know is Troy is actually one of the owners of Sasquatch Strength. Troy, as an owner of Sasquatch, kind of how does it feel to have Sasquatch really start to grow and really start to make an impact on, the entire world, really?
I don't even know how to answer that, because it's pretty crazy. It's a cool ride. It's fun to see. It's fun to help build and grow everything we're doing on the backside. And it's a great adventure, and trying to share our knowledge with like-minded people.
Awesome. Well, I feel the same way. Troy Morris, everybody. We're back with our Director of Marketing and Branding, Amy Patrick. Hey, Amy.
Hello. Hi.
Amy, as our Director of Marketing and Branding, is largely responsible for all of our marketing collateral, all of our supplements, our apparel, the branding of most of our equipment, all of our signage. Amy, do you want to talk a little bit about, let's start with the supplements. How did we start to market and brand the supplements, and what kind of makes us different than other brands?
As far as the supplements go, we just really wanted to make it supplements for real life is kind of the tagline. Instead of worrying about anabolic windows and all of the kind of really technical things that a lot of supplements do, we wanted to just be supplements for real life, very simple. It's just a way to get extra protein in, kind of a way to boost your metabolism, things like that.
That's awesome. And then how has that branding worked with the membership? Do they respond well to it?
Yeah, they like it. I think a lot of our people are just regular people.
Yeah.
Working people, moms and dads. They might need some extra protein, but they're not really concerned about taking it 30 minutes before or exactly 30 minutes after, or exactly what specific ingredients are in there. They're just want extra protein, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that sounds great. And then we, on top of our Sasquatch supplement line, obviously offer Sasquatch products. So we have an apparel line that's designed by you, right? Can you tell us a little bit about how you go about designing that apparel line?
Sure. So we do 4 lines per year with the seasons. My team and I, we just kind of do a regular R&D, see what's trending, see kind of what colors are out there, talk with the membership to see what kind of things they're looking for, and then we put out usually, tank tops and sunglasses, something like that in the summer, sweatshirts and sweatpants in the winter.
Very cool.
Yeah. Things like that.
And then we do these things on a pre-order model. So instead of having to carry all of this ongoing inventory, we have a signature line that we carry, right?
Right.
Of t-shirts and tank tops. That signature line is what somebody like a drop-in would be able to buy. That's on the shelves all the time.
Right.
And then our signature lines get pre-ordered. So we have the sheets go out to all of our franchisees as well as our gyms that have that entire seasonal line as a line item. And then you get to pick what you want, you pre-order it, and then once it sells out, right?
Right. I think you said signature line, but the signature line is the one that's always available.
Oh, right.
The seasonal pre-order lines are what you're talking about. But yes, so it's a one-time, once per season. Once it's gone, we don't usually reorder those again. We might do like a special comeback tour or something. But yeah.
Comeback tour?
But normally it's like one and done.
Do you find that people order quite a bit of this stuff?
They do. I think they look forward to it season to season, so they'll order their sweatpants in the winter and then wait for spring to order tank tops, and it's new every time. So we've got people that want all the newest things.
Perfect. And in between, people do buy like shaker bottles and the stuff that we carry on an ongoing basis, right?
We tend to have shaker bottles, sunglasses, maybe hats or something out all of the time, and so there's stuff to buy.
Beanies in the winter.
Yep.
Oh, perfect.
And then the signature line's always out, which is just 2 tank tops, 2 types of shirts.
Great. And then tell me a little bit about our fridge items. So I know on top of our supplement line that's Sasquatch branded, we also carry items in the fridge that people can consume, day to day after their workout, right? Little one-use tubs of protein or cartons of protein, Fit Aid, coffee, that sort of thing. What kind of process do you go through to select those products for our franchisees' fridges?
Okay, so we work with a company called Europa, which carries anything you can imagine, and we've done a lot of the research on the front end, with trial and error in the gyms here to see what people buy, what people want, what people are likely to need before the workout, what they're likely to need after the workout. And so we test everything here kind of in our corporate locations, and then when you're going to open up a franchise, we've already got it, the list curated, we know what's going to sell, and we can kind of give you ideas on what kind of quantities and things like that, flavors that sell.
That's fantastic. How long do you usually try a product at the corporate locations before we roll it out to the franchisees?
About 6 months, just so we can make sure,
it sells,
things aren't trending.
Right?
Yeah, so make sure it sells.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if a franchisee had a particular product that they wanted to carry in their locations, is there a process they can go through to add it to the list of approved products?
Yeah, we have a little form in one of our operations manuals that they can download and send in, and then we'll just go through it. Maybe it's something we've already tried and we know why it doesn't sell, and then we can give them that info. And if we don't have experience with it, we'll at least have, more answers because we've run through these kind of products before, so we'll be able to tell them if it's going to work or not.
Right, and if we think there's potential, we'll try the product out at the location for 6 months, right, and see how it does.
Yeah.
Great, and we do have 3 locations here in Seattle that we test all these products out in to make sure that they work, right, and that a broad audience responds well to it, not just a small sample size.
Right.
Awesome. So, Amy, one of the roles that you have as well is making sure that all of our equipment is kind of immaculately branded. You've done a really fantastic job. I think behind us we have our Sasquatch chrome rubber plates that are Sasquatch branded and color coded. We have our high density plyometric foam boxes. We have some of our signage. Obviously, we have the protein and the shaker bottles. We also have our entire rig is branded Sasquatch with laser cut Sasquatches throughout the whole thing.
Cool.
Our wall ball targets are Sasquatch laser cut. Our wall balls, I think you can see on the side over there, are stitched with Sasquatch strength. Our slam balls, truly everything in the location is branded down to the welcome mats that we have in front of the location. Why do you think that's so important to make sure that everything is so branded?
Well, from a marketing standpoint, every video that you take in the gym, every picture that you take, we have photo ops everywhere, and we can reuse all of that.
Yeah, it looks like this, right?
For social media, we can reuse it for Facebook ads. Sky's the limit with that. It's just nice to be able to have, basically every time we have a picture of somebody working out, they're holding something or standing on something branded, and so we can reuse that for our corporate marketing, for all the franchisee marketing, for everything.
Absolutely. Do you think there's a higher perceived value to the actual client?
For sure. I mean, it looks more professional. Obviously, this stuff is curated for them, and I think it makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy, so another role that you serve is as our marketing director. What kind of support do you give the franchisees when it comes to their marketing pre-opening? So as they're getting set up to, launch their location, do their grand opening, secure their first 50 to 100 members. How do you help them through that process?
So we have a pretty extensive pre-opening marketing plan. It starts with just brand awareness. We have our own organic social media channels that we use, and then we also do a bunch of Facebook ads. And so a lot of that is just kind of getting people to know that there's a new location.
Building an
where
audience,
it
right?
is, just like so people know it's Sasquatch is coming to town, and then we start kind of honing in on that as far as doing founding member offers, telling where the location is.
This is site specific. So if we have a franchise
Right.
opening up in Orlando, we'll do that brand awareness, we'll do that audience creation in Orlando, and then we'll target them for what you said was the founding member offer.
Right. Also, at that time, they'll be putting up signs in the location. We do all of that for them.
And you mentioned the founding member offer. So that founding member offer really is the lowest our membership is ever going to be. We give people the opportunity to feel like they're a part of really the foundation of what's going to be the Sasquatch strength in that particular city. And then we turn around and we offer the members something exclusive. So for example, our lockers have little nameplates that we put on them. We usually rent these lockers out, the ones that lock on an annual basis. We'll put a custom nameplate on each of their lockers and give them those lockers for a year as part of that founding member offer. We'll also have a little plaque on the entryway of the gym that says Sasquatch Strength, let's say Orlando, founding members, and put their names on that plaque to memorialize them. Again, making the member feel like they're really a part of the foundation of that gym. Maybe another question a lot of franchisees probably have is what ongoing support do they get for marketing?
Sure.
So once they're actually open, we create a lot of marketing for them, right?
So yeah, we create everything here in-house with our own design team, our own marketing team. We will for sure give some templates or things like that if they want to use brochures, collateral, things to send out, mailers, any sort of logo or anything like that that they would ever need, we have. And so there's just no need for any design work on their part. And if they have something that they would like designed or something specific, for instance, one of our franchisees wants a truck sign. That's not something we have, but I helped him design that because that's fine. So if they have specific needs, then we'll help them with it for sure.
Yeah, so for the most part, we manage all their
We manage
marketing
everything.
for them. They're allowed to go to an outside firm if they want to have somebody else manage
Right.
their marketing on a more regular basis, but all the content really comes through us, right?
Right.
So
And they can repost anything. You know, if I have a Facebook ad that I ran that worked and they want to kind of copy that ad and run it on their own, then they'll just use our collateral. And
right. And as always, once we talk about our CRM platform, you guys will understand a little bit more about that. But all of our ads get pushed out to the franchisees. So if we're running an ad here at corporate, you guys are going to get that ad immediately. You're going to get all the integration into your back-end platform so that there's email follow-ups when people engage with that ad. It really is all automated and branded for them.
right. And I mean, we have a brand book, we have a marketing guide, we have all of those resources, but really they can come to me at any point and my team and I can take care of what they need.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Amy. So we're joined now by our Director of Franchisee Success, Vicky Savage.
Hello.
Vicky, can you talk to us a little bit about what it is that you do for our franchisees?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm basically here to be your support in any shape or form that you need. So that goes right from the beginning when you choose to take on a franchise with us. I'm there to just be in contact, to get to know you a little bit more about the location that you're at, and then help you through the step-by-step process to make sure that we get you a success.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Vicky plays really two roles. The first role is when you guys are getting ready to open up as a franchise, right?
Yep.
And getting you ready to go through the processes of site selection, ordering your equipment, really functioning as a project manager for them, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that first?
Yeah, so we understand that choosing a site selection is really complex and stressful. So we use Dave, who I'm sure you'll speak about a little bit more in a moment, and really work with him to understand your needs, make sure we find something that really works for Sasquatch, obviously, but also for yourself. So we'll start off with that process, and then once we establish the location, I will then help you through making sure that we can get all the equipment put in, the signs put on, and then obviously into recruiting. And I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute.
Oh, that's fantastic. And we do use a master broker out of Colliers. It's an international brokerage firm that helps us identify what the criteria are of a given area and compares it to what we call our Sasquatch footprint. That's basically the parameters around where we allow locations to open. Things like median household income, things like population density. We take that footprint and we move it around in the map until we find a place that perfectly meets it. And that really allows us to figure out where Sasquatch is not going to just thrive, but flourish.
Absolutely, absolutely, which is exactly what we want it to do, right?
And after a franchisee goes through that site selection process, once they're open and are ready to go, you kind of move on to a little bit of a different role, right?
Yeah, so I'm kind of, again, still just there to support you. It's the first few months, first few years even can be quite stressful, and just figuring everything out, getting the right staff in the right places, making sure that you're delivering on the core values that Sasquatch embodies, and really making sure there's success. So I'm there to really help you with each and every single one of those steps, right from before you open the door, in getting those coaches in the right places, making sure their skill sets match up. And the way that I do that is I work across a procedure of a checklist. So I establish not only their education, but more so their personality. So really understanding what makes them tick and makes them thrive, because no matter what, they're going to come in and that's really what's going to show to your members. So we want to make sure that they are in line with our core values. Absolutely. And that we then put them in the right position. And of course, some people come in and they always want to be the manager, and maybe they're just not right for that yet. So I may encourage you to put them in as a coach, let them get used to our core values and the way that we work, and then maybe as they go through the next few months or year, they then can look at taking on a role in the future. So when we get you involved, we really want to make sure that you feel the passion and excitement that we have for our brand, and then resemble that and push that on to your members. We want to make sure that they are not just a number in your system. It's so important for us to make sure that each and every member is valued, and I'm going to really help you through the steps to ensure that happens so that you stand apart from all of the competition that may be in your area.
Thank you so much, Vicky. I really appreciate your time.
No problem. I'm super excited to work with you all, and have a wonderful day.